We would like to start our episode by saying sincere condolences to the Netherlands. And now that they are gone, we would like to say congratulations to the U.S. for winning the Women's World Cup!
Oh, yeah, I kind of forgot. A lot has happened.
You forgot about America's victory, my man?
No, I was really bummed because I couldn't watch it. And I tried to find it on my radio, the old-fashioned way. And I searched every AM station that I could.
It'd be kind of great if you went to the radio and you somehow find even more old-timey sports.
Yeah.
It's just, all right, here's the cricket game today. And you're like, what?
Yeah. So yeah, I was really bummed because I couldn't watch or listen to it, so I just essentially had to watch the live score updates on my phone.
Sure.
But yeah, congratulations to the US of A, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And my sincerest apologies to the Netherlands.
As far as I'm concerned, we're all winners. The US did get a medal. We did get a trophy, but Netherlands also, I think, deserves
some recognition from the Trailer Hitch podcast.
That's right.
It's as good as gold.
Well, we hope that the trophy suffices for the U.S. Women's World Team. We hope that our condolences and our admiration is enough for the Netherlands.
Yes.
But that is not enough for us to talk about on this podcast. Good news, we have trailers.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got to dive in.
We have plenty to talk about. We got Mulan, we got Knives Out, we got Judy, we got Frankenstein's monster, Frankenstein.
You nailed it. You were nervous about it, but you nailed it.
It was a tightrope walk the entire way through. So stay tuned for all of this and more.
You can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
Grab a seat, pour yourselves a whiskey neat. It's time to judge the shit out of these future releases by the movie trailers. We're Trailer Hitch. This movie might totally suck, but the whiskey sure is going down fine. Yeah, we're Trailer Hitch.
You said stay tuned for all of this and more.
Yes.
What additional thing do you have planned for this episode that I am not privy to, Kevin?
The additional thing I have planned is the introduction. Hi, welcome to Trailer Hitch. I'm Kevin.
Slightly underwhelming. I'm James.
Yes. We're all about keeping your expectations at a baseline. At a baseline, okay.
I don't know if you've never heard this podcast before, ladies and gentlemen, but we are subpar at best.
Welcome to Trailer Hitch, where you will be whelmed. Trailer Hitch is podcast
That's a Mean Girls reference. You didn't even know, did you?
I didn't.
That's a Mean Girls reference.
No.
It's good.
Trailer Hitch is a podcast where we rate and review movie trailers. We rate them on a scale of need to see more, or never need to see. If James and I both like a trailer, we give it a need to see rating. We go see the movie, report back to you guys in a segment called Trailer in the Rear View, in which we review the trailer in retrospect, see how it matches up with the film, and review the film writ large as well.
Absolutely.
But we're doing the first portion. We're talking about those trailers. We are doling out those need to sees. We are doling out those need to see mores. Maybe even never need to sees. We hope not. We like to keep things light and happy on the show.
But I also like a good diversity of different trailers that get us different reactions. That can be fun too.
But before we even dole out those ratings, we are going to be doing a segment in which ratings are not included. That is because we are talking about a teaser. So this is the teaser trailer showroom. We talk about movie teasers, which by their own definition are just meant to tease, and therefore are pretty consistently just going to be need to see more.
Yeah, and here's there's certain guidelines that they most of the time follow. They're usually under 2 minutes long. Mm-hmm. They usually don't have a whole lot of dialogue in them. They're mostly atmospheric.
Usually, yes.
But look, life isn't perfect, okay?
Definitely.
It doesn't fit into your perfect little box world, and neither does Mulan. She's going to break out and be her own self.
Damn straight.
I was on the verge of connecting that really well, and then I sort of did it.
We have excellent news. The matchmaker has found you an auspicious match.
It is what is best for our family.
I will bring honor to us all. It is my duty to fight.
I was going to lead in with a pun pertaining to a song from Mulan, but it's been so long since I've seen it, I don't remember a song from Mulan, 1. And 2, I don't even remember if there are songs.
Maybe we should just get down to business.
Is that a reference to one?
Yes.
You definitely have far more background knowledge.
I do love Mulan, the cartoon.
Okay.
It is a musical.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, let's talk about the live-action version. We have an opening up shot of someone riding a horseback through an open field. But it goes right into Mulan and her home life in China. She is the daughter of, a respectable family, and they are looking to get her married off. And what the teaser is setting up is that this is the ultimate goal for her and for just women in that time in China.
It's not her ultimate goal, but it's what her family's ultimate goal is for her.
Yeah, and there is the look on the face of Mulan of this is how things are done. And she is going to do her best to bring honor to her family. However, she goes in a different direction.
Well, this
teaser.
I think the way the teaser dives into it is by a buttload of sword training. That is how we go about it.
It just smash cuts to her getting all dolled up in traditional
garb.
Well, garb, but also there's the face painting, and that's also a huge part of it.
The face painting really stuck out to me because I thought that did a really good job of kind of showing it's like she's kind of covering up who she really is in order to adhere to this cultural norm.
Yes, you're putting on a disguise. In one direction you go in, and then in the other direction you go in, which happens to be war. And her posing as a man soldier in the Chinese army.
I was about to say, you said putting on a guise, and that really was the perfect way to put it for Mulan. Now, the thing that was interesting is specifically at the end where you see her in combat, it didn't look like she was disguised.
Well, so here's the thing. Are you familiar with the cartoon?
I remember the general basis of the plot.
Yeah.
And I remember Mushu.
Right. Exasperation
in your voice.
We'll get to Mushu in a bit.
Okay.
But there are parts of the teaser where she has a helmet on, and like you can tell that there's sort of a disguise there. But you're right. It ends on this shot of her hair flowing freely, and she's very obviously a woman in the midst of battle.
Yeah.
And it's how do we get here? But I'm basing all of that off of what I know from the cartoon.
Yeah.
Which, does this teaser even set up that she's pretending to be a man? Or do they just assume everyone's seen the cartoon?
Or are they ultimately going in a new direction with it? Are they going to forego her disguising herself as a man?
That's the whole conflict.
It's the whole fucking movie. You are correct.
So no, I'm putting my foot down. I'm not doing that. That would be so dumb.
If we are going to skip that aspect of the story, then is it just going to be she is not happy with the cultural confines that she is placed in and is like, I'm just going to fight in war now?
Yeah.
Or did this trailer unfortunately kind of unload its clip and show us the last 10 minutes of the fucking movie?
100% that's it, right? It has to be that she is in disguise, and then the teaser just decided to show us post everything was revealed and everything's okay now. They let her fight in the war even though she's a woman. Like, that has to be what they just showed us. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's a cool shot.
I think especially with the story the trailer sets up, you have her putting on this makeup to kind of conform to one cultural norm. I think you could have had a really great juxtaposition within cutting to her putting on all the armor and the helmet and all that stuff and kind of conforming, having to put on another disguise in order to accomplish a different norm. But I do want to get to, because I detected a hint of frustration in your voice. So let's talk about Mushu.
Let's talk about the lack of Mushu.
Yes. How are you feeling about the lack of Mushu?
Not good, Kevin. Okay. Not good.
Okay.
Look, I think these Disney live-action remakes thrive when they maintain the goofiness that is in the cartoons. In Aladdin, they had it in abundance with the genie, But they eliminated 3 comic relief characters from the cartoon pre-Genie.
Because Iago isn't in it.
It's Iago, Abu.
So Abu is in Aladdin. Is he not played as...
He is played as cute.
Okay.
And adorable, which he is, and it's success, but he's got a little less personality than, say, Abu from the cartoon. And then the Sultan in the cartoon, who's just kind of like a bumbling guy. He's very jolly. He's goofy. He's silly. And in this, he is just straight serious. And I think Mulan, by not showing us that you've embraced Mushu yet, which arguably, from the beginning of the movie, ends up being like the main comic relief. And again, if you're just eliminating these comic reliefs that come in at the beginning of the movie, you're expecting people to just like be cool with the ultra seriousness until we get to the goofy part, which can be long and exhausting. I don't know if they've completely eliminated Mushu from this movie, but...
What if it turns out that Mushu is also played by Will Smith, and they were just like, we tried last time and we had the CGI not done, and we saw what the fuck happened there, so we're keeping Mushu out of this trailer.
Yeah. Anyway, to bring it back to Mushu, what the hell? That's basically what I wanted to say.
Fair.
I just know what I want, and what I want is Mushu.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I saw a lot of positive feedback from the teaser. A lot of people love the badassness of it, and I'm not taking anything away from how badass it is. I just know what I like from these Disney cartoons. I like how they are emotional and action-packed and funny.
Yeah.
And musical and colorful. And this one this teaser had zero humor to it. And I miss that. That's Disney to me. And also it's going to be weird watching a Disney movie where it's just a war epic. Like they're just killing people without blood because they can't make it PG-13.
But yeah, I mean, overall for me, I think that the core of... hey, you need to get married to someone who you are not choosing to appease us. And then Mulan going out and striking out and making her own path.
How she puts on a facade for both.
Yes,
and
exactly.
that theme is there in the cartoon. Like, there's a whole song about it. When will my reflection show who I am inside?
Sure.
And that's before she even chooses to go into the war. That's just after the matchmaker stuff. It's all there. It's been there for 20 years. Show it to me more in this marketing.
All right, well, listen, you certainly brought your knives out for this trailer, and Mulan did as well. Oh, listen, I'm not even going to bother to try to make it smooth. We're just going to immediately dive into our first main trailer that we'll be talking about tonight, which is Knives Out.
We understand the night of his demise, the family have gathered to celebrate your father's 85th birthday. How was it, by the way?
The party? Pre my dad's death? Oh, it was great.
I'm gonna live till I die.
You think one of his family
Walls.
killed? Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm gonna live until I
suspect foul play, and I have eliminated no suspects.
Get a clue. This is Knives Out. This is written and directed by Rian Johnson, starring Anna de Armas, Chris Evans, Daniel Craig, Catherine Longford, Toni Collette, Michael Shannon, Jamie Lee Curtis, Lakeith Stanfield, Jaden Martell, Christopher Plummer, Don Johnson, Frank Oz, and our random shout-out. Because we hear our trailer hitch, we like to give random shout-outs to cast and crew members, because the top-billed people, they tend to hog all the credit.
They do.
Especially
a cast like this, man.
So we are going to go ahead and shout out Terrence Hayes, who is the B camera operator. Hey, Terrence.
You go, Terry.
Good job. You shot a movie.
Good job.
And what is the movie that Terrence shot? Well, this is Knives Out. So this starts off with a pretty insane manor that seems to be out secluded somewhere. We have two detectives talking to a family. They'd all gathered for the patriarch of the family, his birthday.
Yep.
And they ask, so how was the party? One of the family members says, oh, you mean before my dad died? Yeah, it was great.
Oh, it's great.
That gives us our setup, where there is a death in the family, and in order for the investigation to happen, the two detectives implore all the family to stay, because they suspect foul play. And throughout the trailer, we get a lot about the family itself and their dynamics. Chris Evans plays someone who is incredibly prickly, and there's plenty of intrigue in terms of not just who the characters are, but once they introduce that the father, the patriarch, was probably murdered, which does make sense given the title and also the fact that there's just a shitload of knives on a wall. But then from there we get a pretty good montage of a gloved hand penetrating a body with a syringe.
Yep.
We have someone throwing a Molotov cocktail into an office, potentially torching a bunch of evidence. We have Daniel Craig saying, I suspect foul play and have eliminated no suspects. It's just a complete clusterfuck as they try to figure out who committed this murder. And it does just seem like a blast. It seems like it's definitely far less meta than Clue was, for example. But it definitely retains kind of like the Agatha Christie whodunit.
Super Agatha Christie,
while maintaining some of like the humor that, you know, you might suspect with like some of like Rian Johnson's work.
I think so. Maybe not everything he's done. He has done.
Brick is pretty serious. I started to hesitate.
Brothers Bloom is filled with fun and lightheartedness. I think Looper is probably his least funny. If we're not talking Breaking Bad episodes.
Right.
Those ones are
Ozymandias isn't really a chuckle fest.
Probably the most least funny are those ones. You know, even The Last Jedi, to a fault, some might say, has a lot of humor in it.
Right.
And there's a lot of humor that doesn't land in The Last Jedi for me. But he can do humor, and I think his style of humor will lend itself really, really well to a whodunit, especially one with a cast of actors who are this good.
It's insane.
All these people are not known for comedy, but they can do it.
Yeah.
And just like Rian Johnson, not known for comedy, but he can do it. And this is such a cool premise that oozes with style. And
it oozes with style, and definitely like a lot of the close-ups of these murder weapons and these hands operating the murder weapons and these push-ins really evoke Hitchcock a lot for me. And it's also really refreshing for me to get to see Rian Johnson kind of back in a mode that I think suits him really well, which is genre work. This is definitely the mode that I think he operates best in, and I think this trailer is pure evidence of that. From the first joke on, just like consistently hits you with really great material.
Yeah. I have confidence in the humor in this movie, but I do want to point out that the first joke, the Jamie Lee Curtis joke, probably is the best joke for me in the trailer. I really like Chris Evans' moment of just calling out everyone across from him.
Certainly.
Eat shit. Definitely eat shit. Like, it is funny, but upon rewatch, it's less and less funny the more you watch it, because there's not much substance to that. That is a surface joke only.
Yes.
The Jamie Lee Curtis bit, though, there is all of this super serious build-up to this trailer, and then you just get a super dry line from Jamie Lee Curtis of, how was the party? Oh, it was great. Before he died. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's brilliant. It's so good. The more I watch it, the funnier I think it gets. And then I think the button kind of was a little underwhelming as well.
Yeah, the CSI KFC joke doesn't really hit me.
I had to think about it far too long. I'm just like, I don't get it. Are they in Kentucky? And then after a while, I'm like, oh, it's because of Daniel Craig's accent.
Yes, and the character who he's playing.
Yeah.
I did really like the I suspect foul play and have eliminated no suspects, because
That's
especially
great.
Through that entire duration of the trailer, you know, if we're looking at this as its own story, at this point, you would have to hope that the people who have come to investigate the crime have at least a semblance of a clue as to what's going on. For God's sake, they didn't even eliminate the kid as a suspect. That is how in deep water they are.
What is interesting is we don't really know if this is going to go the direction of, say, Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, where it's a murder, these are the suspects, the whole movie is figuring out who done it, or if it's more along the lines of something where there is an active murderer still murdering people as we go.
Yeah, something like 10 Little Indians.
Exactly.
For sure.
So, like, those are two different directions to go. And it's a little ambiguous in this trailer which way it's going to go. But I don't want to knock it for that. Because the more you show people getting murdered, the more I go, well, I know they're getting murdered. Yeah. Which I don't want. I want to go in not knowing, you know? And it was also a little unclear to me of some of the people's relationship. Like, are they members of the family or are they there just investigating also? So, like, Michael Shannon's character...
I totally got he was family. Yeah,
I got that later on, but if you remember from the beginning of the trailer, like, Keith Stanfield introduces Michael Shannon to the family. That confused me. It was a little confusing to me. Unless he was talking about Daniel Craig and the visual of the trailer cut to Michael Shannon. Which is like
a reaction shot.
Huge faux pas.
Yeah.
Like, we're establishing characters right now. Don't confuse me by saying, and this is blah, 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 and show a member of the family.
Yeah, and I do think that some of the editing does kind of trip over itself.
Yeah. It's a great music choice, though. I mean, if you want to add style to anything, I think Frank Sinatra is a great way to go.
And especially like a more bombastic Frank Sinatra number like that for... kind of like a classic Agatha Christie style whodunit. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's almost like it just didn't feel like a song that would go with this. But here we are. Like, it does. It fits really well. And it adds just a whole other layer of energy to it, I think. But yeah, I thought this was a really, really solid trailer. There were a few things that I wished there was either it was tweaked or there was more of. But overall, I don't think there was anything in it that I went, well, that looks dumb.
Sure.
You know, which is great. That's a great step in the right direction. So yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Well, I mean, I do have a little bit more, and that is that this is a need to see for me.
Okay, great. And this is also a need to see for me,
Kevin.
Cheers.
Good job.
I'm very excited in this one. I think Rian Johnson is a fantastic filmmaker, and I get excited for every project he gets to be a part of. I do have a couple reservations about it, but nothing was enough to make me drop it to a need to see more on this one.
Yeah, and I totally hear some of those criticisms, but yeah, I mean, the style, the tone of it, all of that was just so engaging for me. So
I liked it a lot.
All right, well, we are going to go see this movie and report back to you guys at some point, however we see it, wherever we see it, whether that be here in sunny LA or somewhere over the rainbow, which, speaking of, we got a Judy Garland biopic to talk about, and that is Judy.
That was good.
Clang, clang, clang with the trolley.
You're saying I have to leave my children if I want to make enough money to be with my children?
Mama? Mama, are you there?
You need to take better care of yourself.
Over the rainbow.
Everybody has their troubles. And I've had mine.
You won't forget me, will you?
Promise you won't.
We're off to see the wonderful Judy of Garland. This is Judy, directed by Rupert Gould, written by Tom Edge, who, fans of the Netflix show Lovesick, he is the sole writer, showrunner of
Lovesick, or as I know it,
Scrotal Recall, baby.
Scrotal Recall.
Damn straight. All right, so this is starring Renee Zellweger, Rufus Sewell, and Michael Gambon. Our random shout-out is going to go to Richard Glass, who's the contact lens optician. Thanks for letting people see while making that movie,
bud.
That's
an important job.
I would also like to shout out the irony of the contact lens optician having the surname of Glass. All right. So,
I mean, you got to follow in the family business, I guess.
This is Judy. James, what's going on in Judy?
Cool. It's a biopic about Judy Garland.
You got it.
And they're singing in it.
I will say that this is thankfully not a Wounded Tomb biopic. I think both you and I have called out and kind of dismissed Wounded Tomb biopics
or
as
at the very
way too,
or at the very least Teen to Tomb.
To Tomb,
to keep with alliteration, I guess. Like Bohemian Rhapsody. That wasn't womb to tomb, but it was close. But
but this is definitely more focused on the latter part. The latter years, right? You were correct.
It looks like we do get a lot of intercutting with scenes from her days on The Wizard of Oz.
Do we?
Yeah, there are I think either 2 or 3 moments in the trailer where we see a very young girl like on a yellow brick road and talking to someone else who's standing next to her. So I don't know if these are going to be flashbacks.
Okay.
It could be. They could also go the route of just a fantasy version of a memory, and maybe she's remembering her youth in like this very technicolor, vibrant way.
Yeah.
But thrown in with the fact that these producers were just like feeding her pills to like keep her awake. And now like, okay, you need some rest. Here's some more pills to go you to sleep. Oh, you're tired now? The next day of shooting, here's some other pills to keep you awake.
Yeah.
And which it ended up like fucking her over for life. Because that is how the latter part of her life went, there's going to be callbacks to how it began.
Right.
But maybe not in the biopic traditional sense of showing it very linearly.
Yes.
Like Walk the Line, where that was very linear.
Mm-hmm.
It was...
Well, like 95% of musician biopics. But I think the general focus of keeping it to her twilight years as a performer is a really good choice, and I think one that is inherently really interesting to me. Because I think in Judy Garland's case specifically, you immediately leap to, oh yeah, Wizard of Oz, when she was like 16, 17, a teenager. And she lived a pretty long life after that. And it was a troubled life, but there was definitely far more life after the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, she didn't like just die right after. It wasn't like a James Dean scenario.
Sure.
It was, she had an entire career.
Yeah, Judy Garland didn't walk out of the soundstage and then immediately get flattened by a house like a wicked witch. She lived a long life after that. And I think to kind of highlight that and to kind of look at a performer who has been forgotten, and what they have to do in order to survive. Thankfully, in Judy Garland's case, it's go to London and perform shows. And there is some conflict there. She does have to leave her kids in America behind, but that is where she then goes. It's to perform at these shows and try and get her confidence as a singer back while hopefully making enough money to get back to her kids.
That's an excellent summary. And a reason as to why I'm very, very lukewarm on this is because I feel like the conflict and plot, while believable and relatable, it's not as interesting as a lot of other biopics that I've seen of a concept. I just don't think it's as engaging.
I will say that the conflict of her kids pretty much goes away after London in the trailer,
but then comes back for like a second.
Yeah, it's like a callback to it. It's like she calls her kids and is like, "Miss y'all," and then that's like effectively it. When that is the driving force of the beginning of the trailer, it's her trying to get a room for her kids, doesn't have any money. It's like, no, a home isn't important. A mother is important. In order to be with my kids, I have to leave my kid. Like, that is a constant running thing. And I do like kind of the subtle touch where as she's performing, someone says that it's really late during her show, and she speaks into the mic and says, what, does your mother have to tuck you in? So it's like, this is something that is very clearly on her mind while she's in London.
My brain didn't even go there for that moment.
Sure.
That moment was very much of a shrug for me. Because she says that line to that guy, and immediately the trailer shifts tone into Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and this very melancholy, sad tone.
Yeah.
That's good that I know that now. I've seen this trailer a few times, and my brain wasn't there. It just seemed like this is a weird transition of her just roasting like a heckler in the crowd. Like that's all my brain saw was her heckling.
You're sitting there shrugging back like you could have cut deeper.
I was just like, why is this the tonal shift transition?
Sure.
Her just like making fun of a heckler.
I do think you're right though, where we do kind of lose that in the back part of the trailer. It's like, but then we're also introducing conflict at some point. Maybe that is in one of these flashback sequences. You see someone chuck a glass in a hotel room, and Judy Garland, like, quick ducks away and stuff. It's one of those things where, like, we introduce so many other potential sources of conflict that aren't really that fleshed out.
It doesn't play out at all. It's just a little underwhelming, even though I find Judy Garland's story fascinating. You know, I've listened
tragic, too.
Absolutely tragic. I've listened to podcasts on it, and it's just fascinating subject matter. And I just don't know. I just don't think this trailer really captured what is so fascinating and tragic about her story. Right. It hinted at things, but it didn't really own them. Mm-hmm. It owns the struggle with her kids. But again, like you said, it even abandons that halfway through.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's strange. I think Renee Zellweger looks great as Judy Garland.
I think it is really interesting because the trailer definitely hits really melodramatic streaks at points.
Yeah.
I think especially that ending button of like, you all won't forget about me, and it's this really charming thing that Judy Garland says to the audience. They're on their feet and cheering. Suddenly cut to extreme close-up, tears in her eyes as she says,
"Don't forget about me, please."
Yeah. Promise me you will remember me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we can step back on this. Like,
subtlety could have been key there.
Yeah, you were already flooring it. Now you're flooring it and we're going off of a jump. And it's like, let's keep the trailer on the road, buddy.
Yeah, kind of veered off a little bit.
Now, that said, I think Renee Zellweger kills all of the charm for Judy Garland when she is at the beginning.
Oh, the beginning with the hotel guy?
Yeah, where the guy says, you know, oh, your room has been relocated.
It's gone. And she's just like, well, where'd it go?
Well, where's it gone to? And that's something that I feel like you could easily read as dickish as an actor. And when Renee Zellweger performs it as Judy Garland, it is so fucking charming. Yeah. Where it's like, I'm not being a dick to you. I'm just trying to, like, have a quick joke about this because it's like, I'm sure this will all work out. And then when the stomach drops of, dude, you don't have money. And you can see that kind of level her. And you see that charm and that humor. And I think the aspects that made her such a star. And I think Renee Zellweger does a great job there.
I think she does great. And I think my favorite moment of the trailer is near the end when the doctor asks, are you taking anything for depression? Which we already know the answer to that question, and it's a tragic one. And she comes back with a joke, and she says 4 husbands didn't quite do the trick. And it's like she's A, lying about it, which fits. Mm-hmm. B, she's doing a joke, though, so the doctor knows she's not being truthful anyway, and she knows the doctor knows. It's just a lot of tragedy said in one joke.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really well done. Mm-hmm. I don't think the singing is that spectacular. It's not bad. It is good enough to pass, but it also doesn't blow me away. So no one's going to go to this movie because the singing impressed them in the trailer.
And I think that's fair, but at the same time, we are talking about a singer that's in the twilight of her years. And I think if she was performing at the height of her prowess, she probably wouldn't be struggling for money.
Sure, I think that it fits thematically, but in terms of getting an audience into the movie theater, I'm not going to go see this because I thought the singing was good in the trailer. You take away that aspect. You take away some of these other things that I thought the trailer didn't do a great job on. And at the end of the day, there's a lot to appreciate in the trailer, but to be honest, I don't see myself seeing this movie. I just don't.
Sure.
Especially in a movie theater. This is a never need to see it for me.
Okay. I would give this actually a pretty high need to see more. Yeah, and I think for me, it's like, I see a lot of these disparate pieces. There are aspects of this trailer that I'm really taken by. But at the same time, yeah, like, it's all over the place story-wise.
I think a thing that would have upped it for me to at least need to see more is there was definitely Wizard of Oz imagery in there. Whether they are flashbacks or memories, I don't know.
Sure.
I think you could have intercut with that more. I think that might have done it for me.
Yeah, I don't think that would necessarily do it for me because I think I am more fascinated in the Twilight years because I've seen Wizard of Oz so many times. Her experience on the set of Wizard of Oz is again, very tragic, but
well documented.
Yeah.
Well known.
It's a notorious story.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this period of her life other than she was on a shitload of drugs and she had kids. And I think the specter of her past life is something that I think can come through without necessarily having to, like, beat me over the face.
I don't want beat over the face either. I don't even want 50-50. But you didn't even notice the shots.
No, I didn't.
That's my whole point, is at least make it enough in this trailer that people remember those moments.
Yeah.
But the fact that you didn't even register that there were Wizard of Oz moments in this trailer, I think is a fact that there could have been a bit more of it.
Which, by the way, for those at home, I feel like that happens to at least me all the time.
And me. Both of us.
We'll be talking about a trailer, and then, like, I'll go to try and pull audio for it for our podcast, and I'm watching it again, and I'll be like, I didn't even fucking remember that shot.
How did we not talk about that? Neither one of us clocked it at all. So, yeah, anyway, I don't think it should be very prevalent, but I think a couple more shots of it would have been helpful.
Okay, that's fair, man.
So,
all right,
yeah.
well, even though that we kind of came away with different opinions, whether that be a never or whether that be a need to see more, we can definitely agree that from its construction standpoint, this is a real monster of a trailer. And that's good, too. Yeah, you make that fucking face, because next we're talking about Frankenstein's monster Frankenstein.
40 years ago, my father, David Harbour Jr., conducted the noble experiment of producing plays for television.
There's a lot of things about your father you may not want to know.
I told you not to dig. You're gonna be digging. You're gonna get dirt on your fingernails. They have to remove your nails.
What are you doing? Are you threatening me?
Well, I want answers.
Part of the mob. Part of the mob.
That's how I got into Juilliard.
Joey, make me wave this gun around.
All right, we got this new trailer here. Let's see if it's alive. This is Frankenstein's monster Frankenstein.
So I do want to point out that how nervous you were before we started recording, how you were going to fumble that title every single time you said it. You have nailed it every single time. That was the third time, and you crushed it. I just want to point out.
Dude, I'm so happy I'm wearing a beanie. I am sweating fucking bullets, and I will be until the end of this podcast.
I just wanted you to know. I'm very proud of you.
I very appreciate it.
It is a tricky title. Let's get into Frankenstein's Monster Frankenstein.
Absolutely, let's do it. So this is directed by Daniel Gray Longino. This is written by John Levinstein. This is starring David Harbour, Kate Berlant, Olan Jones, Heather Lawless, Alfred Molina. Our random shout out is going to go to Andrea Steele, who is the makeup department head. Hey, Andrea, good job, bud. You made up the movie.
2 thumbs up. I thought it was great. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't notice the makeup a whole lot.
I think to a degree makeup is sort of like cinematography, where if you start to notice it, that in of itself is a problem. So when you don't notice it, that means they did a really good job.
Hear, hear.
Let's hope that that's true. And we didn't just offend Andrea Steele. So anyway, this is Frankenstein's Monster Frankenstein. This is a mockumentary centered around David Harbour playing a loose version of himself.
And also a loose version of
his father. Yeah, so
maybe fake father, I think.
The conceit is his dad made a lot of 4 TV stage adaptations of plays, one of which being Frankenstein. And it's David Harbour trying to understand his father's legacy.
Which his father's name is David Harbour Jr., which I just think is hilarious because it makes possibly the only David Harbour III.
Yes.
Junior. I just thought that was funny.
I thought that was a great gag,
It made me do a double take the first time I watched it.
Yeah, and it's about him kind of like trying to dive into his father and understand his work. There's a lot of tension between his father and his co-star, who's constantly trying to mug for the camera. And David Harbour, the elder David Harbour, who is unfortunately David Harbour Jr., so sorry if that gets confusing, is clearly not having any of that.
Yep.
There are these older people who David Harbour clearly, like, they knew his father and he's trying to, like, get things out of them. And they're very vague and mysterious and tell him if he keeps digging, they're going to have to pull out his fingernails.
Yeah.
There's a really great gag. It's really brief, but David Harbour kills the delivery where all he does is he just like puts his fingers on his forehead, leans in and says, "What do you mean he was in the mob?" Like, there's clearly a lot that gets extracted from these clearly silly stage productions. This looks pretty fun.
No,
how about you, James?
Yeah, this is essentially, and I don't know if anyone has seen the show, but it feels like a slightly longer version of an episode of Documentary Now, which is just spoofs on different kinds of documentary styles.
Mm-hmm. In specific documentaries, too.
Yeah.
And but I think the distinguishing factor with this is it's not necessarily trying to spoof any one documentary.
No, it's like it's a bunch.
Yeah, it's basically just kind of like we are kind of taking the piss out of documentaries in general while also kind of having fun with David Harbour's own image of himself. Sure, again, like, there really doesn't seem that much more there but besides the jokes, and it's really, this just kind of boils down to, do you find the jokes funny? Mm-hmm. And my answer is yes.
My answer is an astounding yes, and we'll get to it more later, but there is tons of different types of jokes in this. It's not just like one type of humor. Mm-hmm. There's lots of different kinds of humors in this too, and I find all of them funny. Mm-hmm. It's not just like, oh, I didn't like that one joke because it was nonverbal. I'm more of a punchline type of guy, or I'm more of a facial feature type of. It's like there is something for anyone. If you like any kind of comedy, chances are there's something in that represented in this.
Yeah, that made you laugh.
Yeah. Whether it was just one thing or everything, I feel like something would have made you laugh in this. And it's also really well made too. Like the degrading quality of the footage of like the quote unquote found footage of his dad filming this stuff is like very, old, and it just feels like, oh man, who recovered this footage? It's not like properly kept for, or it doesn't look good. But that's part of the charm of it, I thought.
Yeah, and it definitely seems like it's not necessarily taking the piss out of, like, televised stage productions just so much as it takes the piss out of actors who take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's a really good visual gag where David Harbour Jr. is doing some kind of commercial that clearly recalls the Orson Welles commercial.
Oh my god, it's so Orson Welles.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And there's this other moment where David Harbour Jr., like, does this little, like, flourish jump as he says, I went to Juilliard.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, the delivery is hilarious. The marketing of it also does what Kevin and I like to call intellectual bullying.
Yeah.
You know what, Kevin? I've never asked this before.
Yeah.
Is that an actual term that other people have coined, or is that something you came up with? Because I love it.
I mean, to be fair, you have to bear in mind
Can we take credit for that?
When I started the podcast, I made a joke about being whelmed, and then you were like, "That's Mean Girls," and I had no fucking idea.
Oh, that's fair.
So there's a chance someone else has coined the phrase intellectual bullying, and I just don't know.
Sure.
But as far as I know, yeah, that's our own.
We're going with blind ignorance here, and that we came up with the term
trademarking
intellectual bullying, which happens when you're watching a trailer for something, and a quote comes up from a publication, or like Rolling Stones calls it the funniest movie of the year, crap like that.
Yes.
You see it all the time. Mm-hmm. Probably the funniest intellectual bullying joke I've ever seen in my life pops up, and it just says, more twists than Stranger Things, and quoted by David Harbour from Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. And it's just so funny.
And also definitely harkens back to its general idea of kind of like taking the piss out of self-serious actors.
Absolutely,
too,
yeah.
Where, yeah, you can quote me on that and let them know where I'm from, too.
So it's very interesting that this is a project he chose to do in the midst of all... Midst.
It's M-I-D-S-T.
Well, it's a mist of success. So, in the midst of all his success, he chose to do a project like this when a lot of people sees that success and go in a different direction, a more serious direction.
Yeah.
He chooses to go in a direction that completely takes the piss out of it. Mm-hmm. And I think that is super fun. Yeah. And this is really entertaining to me, and I can't wait to watch it. Did that sound like a need to see it, Kevin? Because
like
it definitely is a need to see it for me.
That's very good. All right, it's a need to see for me too.
Can we cheers again?
We're gonna cheers again.
It's 2 need to sees in one episode. It has not happened in a while.
No. It's been bleak.
Yeah, and like I foreshadowed at the beginning of the episode, this is a very well diverse episode. We had a couple need to sees. We had a need to see more. Basically, is the teaser from Mulan was a need to see more, and a never need to see for me for Judy. So, a well-rounded episode, I'd say.
We loved, we hated, we did it all. we whelmed, damn it.
We laughed, we cried. We cut that part out, but I promise we cried. That's all I got.
All right. Well, I'm hoping that we whelmed you to the best of our abilities. Now that we've reached the end of the episode, we are not done here because this is the mail truck segment.
Ooh, very good.
Yes. The mail truck is stopping by to deliver some mail to this here trailer. Because a few of you have written in to give us some intel, give us some feedback on the show.
This is a segment we do every episode. Just kidding. We hardly ever get mail.
Fake it until you make it, okay? If we say this is a regular thing, people will write in.
This is a regular thing every episode.
Thank you. All right, so first, this comes from Clay Janicki, who writes in post our Golden Trailer episode.
Right,
so we did an episode,
a few episodes ago.
Yeah,
right?
we went and talked about the Golden Trailer Awards from this past year.
Yep.
There was a particular category called the Golden Fleece Award.
We were perplexed by
very. Yeah, we did a lot of Googling. There was a lot that came out about Greek mythology. It made us want to stab our eyes out.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Clay has the details as to what the Golden Fleece Awards is.
Let me hear it, baby.
So Clay says, Golden Fleece is the award for the best trailer for the most poorly rated films of the year. Basically an award for polishing poop.
Whoa, interesting. Okay.
And he says, and the sad part is the Golden Trailers, everything is submitted by the trailer house, so some trailers may not even be nominated because the house doesn't want to submit them, and they choose what to submit. Basically saying that if you're submitting something to the Golden Fleece Award, what you're saying is, this movie sucks and we did the best we could.
Yeah.
And that was Clay's insight. So Clay, thank you.
That is really interesting, actually. I didn't come across that explanation at all.
Sure. I didn't either.
So, wow, interesting. And that fits. That fits a lot of...
Because it was Serenity.
Serenity was the winner, and you saw it.
Yeah.
And it's a good trailer.
It is a good trailer.
So that totally lines up completely.
Yep. Yeah, it just kind of makes... it is just sort of funny to me, because it's basically an entire award is devoted to, we did the best we could.
Yeah. Which I feel like that's how most legitimate awards should be presented, especially in editing and post-production.
I know a lot of people were upset about Bohemian Rhapsody when editing.
That's where my brain went, was Bohemian Rhapsody.
And to a degree, if you heard about any of the production trouble with Bohemian Rhapsody, to a degree, it does kind of feel like, the editing department really did the best they could.
Give that guy an award, please.
If nothing else, just for the stress he dealt with.
Yeah, people were pulling him like a Stretch Armstrong, and he made it into a movie that people went and saw and were excited to see. So,
Indeed.
Anyway, that's fascinating.
That is not the only one.
What?
Next,
I'm so excited to hear more about trailers.
Okay,
that
well,
people want to talk about.
Our next piece is about someone wanting to talk about a trailer.
I love it.
Unfortunately,
which one, Kevin?
Here's the deal. Okay, so someone wrote into our Facebook. This comes from Amin, who, judging by his Facebook profile, is either Canadian or just likes Canada. Amin writes, I need a trailer hitch for a Grand Caravan 2010. At this juncture, we would like to say to Amin, unfortunately, we do not have that, but we do have an opinion on the Mulan trailer.
Yep.
We hope that this will suffice.
I hope so, and keep listening.
It's one of those things where trailer hitch, I am realizing in retrospect, might be a bit disingenuous of a name to some people. You might see trailer hitch, and you might genuinely think that we can give you a 2010 Grand Caravan trailer hitch.
We cannot.
No.
Maybe we should have called it Movie Trailer Hitch, but we already have the whiskey glasses
that say trailer hitch
etched in glass. What can I tell you?
You know,
it's almost as good as stone.
Glass is almost as good as stone, exactly. So, Amin, we wish you the best. We hope that you get that Grand Caravan trailer hitch.
It should be noted, I think he caught on because I think he deleted his comment.
Yeah.
So I think he caught on that we do not provide that kind of service.
But Amin, if you are listening, no harm, no foul, buddy.
Absolutely not.
But hey, if you would like to write into our Facebook page, you can do that by just searching us on Facebook, and you can leave a comment. If you are requesting an actual trailer hitch, you won't get far, but if you are requesting we review a trailer, you can certainly do that on our Facebook page.
You will get somewhere with that.
Yes. Or if you would like to tweet at us, you can do that at Trailer Hitch Pod on Twitter, and you can request trailers, give us thoughts, your feedback, your comments. You can also do that via our Instagram if you want to take a picture and make it visual.
Yeah.
You can do that at Trailer Hitch Podcasts on Instagram. Otherwise, if you'd like to email us, give us longer thoughts, you can do that at trailerhitchmailbox@gmail.com. Otherwise, in terms of listening and commenting, you can do that on our YouTube page. Our entire back catalog is up there. We are missing one episode because it does contain a piece of music. It was Shallow from A Star Is Born because it was used in the trailer, and then YouTube made us take it down. Because
even though it's 100% fair use,
100%.
So we 100% are allowed to use it, but YouTube
their algorithms are very strict.
Yeah, they have an algorithm, so...
that is, in retrospect...
And they are really terrible at just, like, getting back to you when you're proving your case. They're just like, we don't care that much, though.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that is the Golden Trailer episode. For those who listen to us exclusively on YouTube and were completely perplexed by that text from Clay, sorry, bud.
Well, I'll be getting the episode... I'll be recutting the episode so it doesn't have that song in it. Okay. And then we can get it up retroactively.
Yes.
So someone can listen to it.
Yes, but you can find most of our back catalog at
absolutely
Trailer Hitch Podcast. So search us on YouTube. Give us a subscribe, give us a comment, give us a like. Do whatever you gotta do.
That's right.
And while you're doing that, if you're an Android user, you can find us on Stitcher. Just go ahead and search us on Stitcher. You'll be able to find our work there. Otherwise, you can find us on iTunes as well. Go ahead, rate, subscribe, comment, like, do all of the things. It spreads the words about our podcast. We'd like to get more people to get to thinking about movie trailers the way that we do.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, maybe we can get a listener who does have a 2010 Grand Caravan trailer hitch for on.
We can help them out.
By the way, we would like to say thank you to Danny Schmitz from Lost in a Name for the amazing intro song that you hear. We would like to thank Rachel Ashley for the amazing cover art that you see on all of our social medias and on iTunes. You can find her work at Mighty Creations on Instagram. Thank you, as always, to Jenny Hawks, our intrepid social media and bad movie correspondent.
Absolutely.
And we would also like to thank Casey Clowers for the amazing outro, which you will hear momentarily, unless James has something to add.
Nope. You did it all, sir. Let's hit that outro music.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We hope that you have a good night. And thank you again to the U.S. women's team for bringing home the gold.
You can't mount holy sails without a sailor stitch. And you can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
Dude, it is like, I promise, like, I'm not trying to take the piss out of Amen.
You're not ragging on him?
No, I'm not ragging on him. It's just really unfortunate because I'm looking at my box here, and I do have a trailer hitch for a 2009 Grand Caravan. I just don't have one for a 2010. It's really shitty.
Why are you rubbing that in?
I'm not trying to rub it in.
But it's so close.
I know.
You should have just, like, kept it to yourself. Because I bet it works.
Well, I mean, we're not... Oh, we are recording. Well, I mean, all right. Well, as long as we're on the recorded record, I would just like to say that, you know, it is just tragic. Because I do think that we should get some automobile stuff just so that way people don't feel swindled.
Bumper stickers.
Bumper? Oh, my God. That's a great goddamn idea.
Boom.